All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into the really fascinating world of famous words, visionary statements, and timeless wisdom. We're going to unpack the true power of the spoken and written word and look at exactly how history remembers, or, sometimes beautifully misremembers, what leaders, thinkers, and innovators have declared throughout the ages.
But before we get too deep into it, take a quick second and think of a famous quote you know. Do you have one in mind? Maybe it's a line from a favorite movie, a huge statement from a towering historical figure, or even just a piece of advice passed down from a family member. Hold on to that thought, because today we're going to deconstruct exactly what makes certain words completely unforgettable. Why do some sentences survive for literally centuries, while others are just instantly forgotten?
So, the foundational question we really have to ask right out of the gate is this. What does the word quote actually mean? I mean, we throw the term around all the time in everyday conversation, but taking a step back to properly define our terms is absolutely crucial for true understanding. Well, according to our source material, a quote isn't just some random sentence. It's essentially a delivery system for wisdom. The text defines it as words full of wisdom that someone important said and can make the reader get inspired. Notice the key components in there: wisdom, importance, and inspiration. It is language that is specifically designed to move you and to sparkle real reaction. Let's actually see how this plays out in the real world, specifically with national leadership. The source highlights this incredibly powerful statement from King Salman bin Abdullah Al-Saud. He says, "My primary goal is to be an exemplary and leading nation in all aspects, and I will work with you in achieving this endeavor." Now, if we stop and really unpack the deeper meaning there, what's the ultimate goal being communicated to the people? Look really closely at the phrasing. It's not just about leadership operating in a vacuum, right? It's a collaborative effort. It actively invites the listener into the entire process of building the future. The major takeaway here is that it's a grand declaration of leading Saudi Arabia to become an exemplary, top-tier nation through a completely unified effort. It shows us that a truly great quote can serve as a massive mission statement. It acts like a North Star, aligning an entire population toward a single, unified objective. Okay, moving on to Section 1, Predictions that Aged Poorly. Let's look at how even the absolute most brilliant minds can miscalculate the future. Take a look at this incredibly bold claim from Microsoft founder Bill Gates back in 1981 regarding computer memory limits. He reportedly stated, 640K ought to be enough for anybody. Just let that sink in for a second. 640 kilobytes. Because think about the smartphone sitting right there in your pocket, or the laptop you might be looking at right now. Is 640 kilobytes of memory even remotely enough today? To put that into perspective, a single high-resolution photo on your phone probably takes up 5 to 10 times that amount of space. The reality? A resounding no. As our source points out, technology changes a lot, and it changes very rapidly. This brilliantly proves that even the brightest, most pioneering minds of a generation can completely underestimate the scale and speed of the future. It is a fantastic reminder to stay a little humble when we're trying to predict what's coming next. And looking at this collection, it just brilliantly captures this kind of historical irony. When we compile words from the past into a collage like this, we get the immense benefit of hindsight. And man, that hindsight can make some very official statements look incredibly funny in retrospect. Just imagine being the U.S. Commissioner of Patents in the year 1899 and declaring, as attributed to Charles H. Duell, that everything that can be invented has been invented. I mean, wow. He genuinely thought human ingenuity had officially peaked right before the dawn of the 20th century. That means right before airplanes, the internet, and literal space travel. Which brings us to Section 2, Wisdom and Folly. Let's explore the human condition a bit. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato actually gave us this incredible framework for understanding human communication and our underlying motivations. He offered this really profound observation. Wise men talk because they have something to say. Fools talk because they have to say something. This visual breakdown makes his philosophy absolutely crystal clear. On one side, we have the wise men, people of unusual learning, judgment, or insight. They speak strategically because they have valuable, substantive insight to share. And on the flip side, we have fools, who, according to the source, talk a lot but nothing comes out except rubbish. True wisdom requires actually having something valuable to share, whereas foolishness is basically just producing worthless noise to fill the silence. And when we look at writers and thinkers across history, we see them capturing these highly specific, really relatable angles of the human experience. Let's look at a few more literary giants highlighted in our source material and see what kind of wisdom they left behind.
Take Jane Austen's sharp social observation, for example. She noted that those who do not complain are never pitied. It's quick, maybe a tiny bit cynical, but it's a really profound look at how society responds to suffering. Then, shifting to a much lighter note, we've got Agatha Christie's clever humor. She says an archaeologist is the best husband because his interest grows as a woman ages. It uses wit to flip a totally common societal insecurity completely on its head. Or consider Ralph Waldo Emerson's profound, extremely direct advice on finding purpose. Make yourself necessary to somebody. I mean, that is a massive philosophical goal distilled into just 6 words. And finally, we have Benjamin's simple grounding note to be satisfied and pleased with your situation. Every single one of these brilliant minds takes incredibly complex life rules and distills them into a single, highly memorable sentence.
But hey, sometimes really heavy, profound topics, like our own mortality, are best handled with a bit of clever deflection. We see this perfectly executed in this famous quote, "I'm not afraid to die. I just don't want to be there when it happens." It uses a brilliant slice of humor to help us cope with the universal human fear of the unknown. All right, wrapping things up with Section 3, real-life learning. All of the words we've looked at today, from the philosophical frameworks of ancient Greece to the rapidly outdated tech predictions of the 1980s, kind of lead us to an ultimate conclusion about how we actually gather wisdom. How do we do it? Well, the legendary author Mark Twain had some very specific thoughts regarding education versus reality. What did he really mean when he talked about the true nature of learning?
The vital takeaway here is structured so beautifully in these 3 points. First off, school is absolutely an important place to learn something new. It gives you those foundational tools. But second, the real learning, that happens from your actual real-life experiences out in the wild. And third, because of that, it is a completely never-ending process. You literally don't ever graduate from learning. It continues every single day for the rest of your life.
So, as you head out today into that never-ending process of learning, gathering your own real-life experiences, what inspiring quote will your own life write? What piece of wisdom are you going to pull from whatever challenges you face today? Keep seeking that knowledge, keep finding inspiration in the words of others, and most importantly, keep applying it all to your own journey.